So you can build an AI application over the weekend. We all know that. Seriously, you can spin up like a RAG application, connect it to the LLM, build a proper pipeline, have an awesome looking UI, and you can do all of this over the weekend. Now, when you shift from demo phase to production, things become slightly challenging. Because in production, you have to deal with real data, you have to deal with real users, and you have to deal with real consequences. Now, I'm speaking because I have spent at least 2.5 years building AI agentic application, enterprise grade, and I'm just speaking based on my experience. And today I'm going to share at least 6 hardest lessons from building a large-scale agentic AI system, which I'm pretty sure it's going to benefit all of you who's listening to this video. So the first lesson, I wish somebody had told me, but the gap between demo and production is real and it's brutal. In demo, everything works. When you see the streaming responses, you really feel good. Everything is working fine, and it feels like magic. But then when it comes to production, things shift a little bit, because in production you're dealing with real data, you're dealing with real domain experts testing your data, and when they tell you about your responses that it's not accurate, or oh, that's wrong, that's completely missing the point, and you see all those things, and then suddenly things become extremely difficult. And that's where you got to figure out why. And the gap between demo and production is where I believe most of the AI projects struggle, and this is real, and so don't underestimate it. So here is something that it took me a little bit longer than I would like to admit to fully internalize this. So when you look at a bad response, your first instinct is always that, oh, there is something wrong with the model itself. But if you look closely, then 9 out of 10 times it's a data problem. It's not a problem related to the model. So there may be a gap in the knowledge base itself. Your retrieval quality may not be that great. Your chunks may not be structured well. Your API may not give you the right set of attributes with the response. So the model is doing its thing, but it does not have enough context to give you the right response. Now we spend significant amount of time fixing this gap with the knowledge base, auditing the chunks, reindexing, and I must warn you that this is a little bit of manual process and it's totally unglamorous. But if you put the right effort, then it definitely moves the needle. So we built a structured evaluation framework before we launched. We kind of like collected 100 plus test case data. We measured all kinds of metrics like accuracy, hallucination, retrieval quality. But then post-production, real users showed up, and you will be surprised the kind of question a real user would ask. And you cannot build a test set to which covers every way a human would phrase a question. That's impossible. So my recommendation is like, try to ship early. If you try to be too perfect, then you'll probably never launch your product. The teams that ship early, they have a chance to get real signals from real users, and they can iterate over all the questions, and they are likely to be more successful. Now post-production, when you start evaluating your responses, and this is like a real thing which I have seen in production, and speaking from example. Now if you see a lot of I don't know, or I am unable to find this information, do not treat this as an acceptable default. This really needs some investigation, because this could be a loss at your retrieval itself, or it could be your API failing silently. So this requires real investigation of your stack trace. Do not ignore them. These I don't know responses sometimes give you the most valuable signal. That just comes from my experience. They tell you exactly where your system is broken, and do not ignore them, hunt them down. So the other architectural decision which saved us repeatedly was making everything configuration driven. Model parameters, your agent routing logic, knowledge base mappings, prompt templates, everything was externalized through configuration versus hard coded deep into the logic. Imagine you have a production problem and the last thing you want to do is dig deep into the layers of code versus changing simple configuration. Now configuration driven development helps you to debug things faster. You can swap out things, tune without touching the core application logic. It helps maintainability. It helps you to debug things faster. It also helps you to scale things faster if the requirements change, and they do change most often than not. So this one came directly when we were building our first RAG application in production, because we clearly understood what context mean as far as AI application goes. So we applied the same principle to our agentic application. So instead of building one single agent with a generalized prompt, broader context, we kind of decided to split the agents into domain specific agents, specialized agents, which has narrow context and which can help with a specific problem in the business. And that decision really paid us off really well because it helped us with better accuracy, cleaner scaling, and easier debugging. So I would recommend that do not wait until you find that your responses are inaccurate, your agents are bloated, and then you start splitting it. I would say start this from day one, even before you write a single line of code. Here is the thing, all the 6 of those lessons, the data work, the architectural decisions we had to make, the iterations, all of them would have not been possible without this one foundational practice, which is having a strong, robust evaluation framework, which we built pretty earlier in our project, and we had this discipline of running it constantly. Now, because you cannot improve unless and until you measure it. So for us, every fix we did, every accuracy gains we achieved, every architectural decisions we made, all of them were possible because we had the discipline of running this evaluation framework constantly through our project lifecycle. Now let them be the source of truth to guide you, to tell you that you are actually getting better. Now that is the discipline that separates production AI from demo AI. Now that's a wrap on the 6 hard lessons for building a production AI agentic system. Now if you're on this journey building, iterating, shipping, I hope something here saved you at least some time and made you feel less alone in this struggle. Now this is the end of this video. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next one.